An editor's note. In the following conversation, the guests claim that contraceptives can cause what's called abortifacients, a drug that causes an abortion. Now, that's not true. Contraceptives, including Plan B, do not cause an abortion. They prevent fertilization. Pregnancy only occurs when a fertilized egg has been implanted in the wall of the uterus. A guest also claimed that for a woman to take contraception of any form, it is not healthy for her. The medical community agrees that while there are some risks associated with birth control, all methods of contraception are considered okay for healthy women.
From St. Louis Public Radio. This is St. Louis on the Air.
I'm Cindy Collins. Joining me in the studio now, Brian Westbrook. He is Executive Director and founder of Coalition Life, and Mary Mashmeyer, founder and president of Defenders of the Unborn. Welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting us.
It's an honor to be here.
Now, I'll start with Mary. Can you tell us briefly what got you involved in this work?
Well, in 1985, I went to Missouri Right to Life meeting, and there they had the silent scream, and then they had a newspaper that was a mailing that I received, and it showed this man out in California that had a transport truck, a huge truck in his backyard, and full of babies. They looked like ice cream containers. And I thought this was just unreal. This is a lie, and this doesn't happen in our country. And at this meeting, I discovered, oh, yes, it does. And then we were invited to go to Regency Park, which was on Manchester Road, an abortion mill that housed three clinics. And that's where we began. I just felt that this is where God led me to be, and that's where I stayed and then moved on.
All right. And Brian?
Well, my journey started a little bit later. It started in 2008 when my son was born, and we had a trip over to Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, and he ended up in ICU, sadly. And really, at that moment, I started looking, where can I give back? And groups like Mary's group had already been out to the abortion facility, but I learned from my mother-in-law that she had gone through an abortion some 35, 40 years earlier. And we thought, well, maybe we'll go out to the abortion facility. I was really reluctant to begin with, but other groups were out there, and we found some impact that we could have directly in front of those abortion facilities.
Okay, now Coalition Life, your organization, runs Women's Care Connect in St. Louis. Now that's one of 75 pregnancy care centers here in Missouri. They're nonprofit centers, and they're designed to provide pregnancy tests and material aid to pregnant clients, and also to persuade them not to have an abortion. What is your plan for that clinic in the wake of Missouri's abortion ban? Where do you go now?
Sure. So Women's Care Connect is based here in St. Louis, and we do pregnancy testing, ultrasound, and also options coaching, along with connecting them with about 200 other agencies who are working in the St. Louis region as well, both from government agencies all the way through nonprofits and church-based agencies as well. And so our thought with that is that there are women who live here in Missouri who must be served here in Missouri. So the more we can grow and expand that here at this, right where they live, it's going to be really important to continue to expand. So working with all of those other 75 other agencies here in the Missouri area. But we're also looking at those clients who are going across the river, and how can we have an impact with them as well.
Okay, and we have heard many stories of women who are seeking abortion going into Illinois. When you say you look to work with those women, what are we talking about there?
Sure. So there's a Planned Parenthood. There's also what's called the Hope Clinic over in Granite City. But our focus is in the Planned Parenthood in Fairview Heights, along with a place up in Flossmoor. It's a Chicago region as well. And we do something called sidewalk counseling. And so we'll work with other pregnancy centers who already exist in those areas to reach out to women who are directly going into these abortion facilities, something that Mary had done well before we were on our scene. But we were very excited to be able to have an opportunity to talk to these women directly as they go in.
Were you doing this sidewalk counseling in Missouri prior?
Correct. So
okay,
we were doing
now
that
you're
in
just
Missouri.
moving that to the Illinois side.
Yes.
Okay. And Mary, thanks for joining us. Women's Care Connect. is a crisis pregnancy center. Now, they get some criticism for giving the impression that they're medical centers, but they don't have to register with the state health department. Is Women's Care Connect a licensed medical center? I know some aren't. I don't know about your organization.
Well, we are not licensed. We don't say that we give medical information. We offer the women support and help that are in the 11th hour when they're going in for their abortion. We have doctors we work with that we send them to, and they take care of their medical concerns. Whatever the needs that the mom has that brought her to the abortion clinic is what we do for them.
And what types of needs do you see?
Well, we see moms that need their rent paid. They're going to be evicted out of their apartment or their house. We see moms that need medical care for their pregnancy and for their children. They need furniture. We provide that for them. Whatever that need is, that in order for her to carry that baby to term is what we do.
Okay, and do you then continue support after that child is born, or is it strictly through the pregnancy phase?
We have 2 different moms at this point that delivered their babies 3.5 years ago that we're still helping them with, things that come up. We had an opportunity, a wonderful car dealer gave us 2 different cars for these moms so they could drive to work. Again, whatever the needs are, we pay the utility bills. No one on our staff is paid, and every dollar that comes in goes out to the moms.
Okay. Now, on your website, Women's Care Connect's website, you have 3 options.
Just as hers is Defenders of the Unborn.
I'm so sorry.
We're not connected to that.
You are. I'm so sorry about that.
We are our own entity.
Yes.
I mixed up my notes, and thank you, Brian, for correcting me. You are Defenders of the Unborn, but that's what your organization does.
Correct.
Okay. Now I want to move back to Women's Care Connect, and that's you, Brian.
Yes.
According to your website, you say that you continue. You coach patients to continue the pregnancy and parenting, continue the pregnancy, and then move to an adoption plan, and that you do you counsel on abortion procedures and give information. Mm-hmm. So if a client comes in and they are seeking an abortion, what kind of information are they going to get from your staff?
Sure. So we have a nurse on staff along with a medical director who oversees what we do on a daily basis. And so the nurse would talk to her or one of our coaches would talk to her about exactly what an abortion is from a medical perspective. So a suction abortion includes a vacuum tube that pulls out the child, and just being very frank about what the effects or the both for the child, but then also for themselves from a medical perspective. And that's also why we do the ultrasound. So we'll show her a picture of her child on ultrasound and talk about the different medical, medical viewpoints that she can see.
When women see your website and they see that that you offer counseling about abortion procedures, do you have calls from women who are seeking abortions and they think that you are an abortion provider?
So women will call us seeking information about abortions, and we never tell them that we have abortions or would provide them or even send them to an abortion provider. So they have a lot of questions, and I think it's really important to offer space for women who are considering abortion. So that's what we do by allowing them time to have that conversation with them.
Okay. Now, Brian mentioned doing more work on the Illinois side of the river. Mary, does your organization have any plans to expand into Illinois?
Well, we've already been in Illinois for the last 4 years.
Oh, okay.
We've been in Hope Clinic. We were there on Friday and Saturdays for approximately 4 years. We have a lot of Missouri girls that go there, a lot more now after we became abortion-free. Missouri is a free state. And they can't perform abortions here, and so our young girls go over there, and it's a very busy place now. Lots of girls from out of state, from Tennessee, Missouri, Illinois. We've had some from Texas.
And we should say girls and women. I mean, they're not performing abortions on children.
They can perform abortion on anyone if she's pregnant, but there is no age limit in Illinois. They don't need parental consent. And so, we offer them the same help that we did here at Planned Parenthood in St. Louis. it makes it a little more difficult because they live in Illinois and we're not up to par yet with what Illinois offers.
Right.
But
Okay.
we're working on that. We've contacted other states to find out what pro-life organizations there will help them if we do get a girl from that state.
I just wanted to be sure people understood. It's not just girls. It's also grown women.
Oh, absolutely. When I say girls,
women
it
of
encompasses
childbearing age.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
very good. Now, in addition, as you look at trying to lower the abortion rate, is your ultimate goal to see a nationwide ban on abortion, Mary?
Absolutely. Human life amendment is the only thing that will suffice.
Okay, Brian?
Now, what we're looking for is making abortion unthinkable. So we look at this as very close to a slavery, or a lot of parallels with slavery. So it took a bitter civil war for the United States to figure out how to deal with slavery. And hopefully that's not what we end up doing with abortion. But we want it, if you look back today and you ask anyone, would you have slaves? It's unthinkable to even think that we would have slaves today. Completely unthinkable. 99% of the population would agree. And so what we want is not just illegal, but also unthinkable. That if we look back in our history and think, why do we ever think that abortion's okay? That's our goal of our organization.
Okay. Now, as we talk about protecting the unborn, and if you want fewer abortions or no abortions, one of the things that many people say is, well, we need then more access to contraception. What are your feelings on contraception, and do you promote that as a way to avoid unwanted pregnancies to begin with?
No, we don't promote contraception at all, because contraception can cause what's called an abortifacient, and that is the baby. Woman becomes pregnant and that baby dies because it doesn't attach to the mom, and so there is no contraceptions that are okay.
Not even condoms?
Well, now we're getting into it.
Well, I want to understand.
The condom doesn't prevent, I guess you could say it does prevent a pregnancy, but for the woman to take contraception of any form, it's not healthy for her.
Okay, Brian, what is your organization's feeling about it?
So with regards to contraceptive, anyone could go to Walgreens and get any of these things. So the idea that we would discuss or have even debate about whether contraceptives are accessible is kind of a tangent from what we're really, really talking about. So you can even walk into Walgreens today and get Plan B morning after pill, which again is abortifacient. But what's really, really important is what actually happens in the abortion, right? Abortion takes the life of a little innocent human being, and that's critically important for us to realize that contraceptives, they're accessible. You can get them really anywhere. The idea that somehow we need more accessibility to contraceptives is ridiculous. But what we do is really focus on how we can help the mother and how we can help her through this pregnancy. The reasons that these mothers are getting these abortions has little to do with contraceptives, and it has everything to do with the fact that they're in poverty and they're in abusive relationships.
Okay, so on that note, and that's a perfect transition, thank you, Brian, are either of your organizations involved in plans to promote legislation and funding to ensure that the parents of children have the means to care for their children? If someone is seeking an abortion because they're impoverished, is there a plan that you are involved in to help ensure that they have the means?
So through our organization, along with a lot of other agencies we do work with, that financial means is there. It's ready. It's accessible. And so all they have to do is come to our organization or one of the other 75 pregnancy centers here in Missouri, and they can find that help. It is already exists.
You will help them navigate that system?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So now we provide emergency financial aid through our organization for the first week or so, but it's about building that plan so that they're self-sustainable. I'm also on the organization or the board of directors on a group called Birthstone. This is actually providing long-term housing and single-family housing for women who have chosen life instead of having an abortion. There is also another group called Our Lady's Inn provides housing for these women as well. And so really, this network already exists in Missouri. We don't necessarily need more money from the government to be able to do this. This is people of goodwill putting their money forward to be able to help these women. It already exists.
So you're talking about nonprofit organizations then?
Both nonprofit organizations, but also church bodies, St. Vincent de Paul, these kind of groups. I mean, there's a whole network of groups who want to help these women, and they have the capacity and ability to do so.
That's what I was trying to understand. Yes. You're not just talking about government government programs.
Almost all of the aid that's happening here in Missouri is from these 75 pregnancy centers plus the maternity homes. That exists because people give and give generously.
Okay. And Mary, what about your organization?
Well, if the woman needs housing, we provide that. We help them find housing. Sometimes we pay the deposit, the first couple months of rent.
But are you involved in promoting legislation or anything like that to help care for the potentially thousands of additional children that could be born?
Well, as Brian said, we work with Our Lady's Inn. We work with other organizations that we lead them to get the help and support that they need. Our Lady's Inn has two locations, one in the city of St. Louis and one in St. Charles County.
Okay.
And so depending on where that mom is or if she has other children, we have several women that have went there through the years.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
St. Louis on the Air is a production of St. Louis Public Radio. Understanding starts here.
Our podcast proudly supports St. Louis artists by using music from Life Creative Group.
Do you find yourself regularly listening to episodes of St. Louis on the Air? Suggest us to a friend you think might enjoy our conversations. And leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts on the App Store. It's the simplest way to help people discover our show. Thanks.
St. Louis Public Radio is a member-supported service of the University of Missouri St. Louis.
Support comes from the Missouri Forest Products Association, providing more than 41,000 jobs in the production of wood pallets, railroad ties, white oak barrels, hardwood floors, and more. Details at choosewood.com.